Hi there everybody, just another short video regarding changing the subject. There are 3 of these in total, so you might want to look at the other ones as well, but this should only take a couple of minutes to kind of go through. Right, so changing the subject, or sometimes referred to as rearranging to make something the term. Alright, so either way, we're looking to kind of move an equation around really to make something equal something else. Alright, so let's look at some example. So the change in the subject format, we need to get the letter on its own. That's the idea. So for example, if I wanted to make y the subject, I want y equals something, or something equal to y. Okay, we need to move everything away from it, other side, but making sure we're doing the correct operations, the inverse operations to those ones we're doing. All right, so let's look at examples. So let's make y the subject. All right, so let's have a look. Y is here, and I want to keep it on its own. All right, so at the minute it says x equals y plus 4, but I want either y equals something or something equals y. Well, the easiest thing to do is move this plus 4, all right? So depending on how you've been taught in lesson, depending on how you've been kind of covered before, is what we do need to do is the opposite of this to get rid of it. So we need to take this away. But whatever I do to one side, I've got to just do the same to the other side. Or alternatively, again, depending on how you've been taught, the inverse of plus 4 is take away 4, so that would go to the other side, all right? So effectively, I'm going to take away 4, and then what will happen is the plus 4 comes to the other side and becomes a minus, so the inverse, and then y is now on its own. And that is it, it's done. X minus 4 equals y. Now, some people say it needs to say y equals, and again, that's absolutely fine, but ultimately I have isolated y on its own, so I can either leave it as x minus 4 equals y, or then just swap it around and say y equals x minus 4, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so what about this one? Again, I'm trying to make y the subject. So currently y is divided by 5, and I've got x equals y divided by 5. Well, again, if I want to get y on its own, then I need to inverse what is currently happened to it, which is divide by 5. So therefore I need to times it by 5. All right, so that 5 will go to the other side and times. All right, so it kind of comes to the top, and then that 5 will disappear. All right, so 5 comes to the top by timesing it, and then when I times this side by 5, it would be 5y over 5, which means the 5 would cancel and leave me with y, and again, y is on its own, so that is the job done. Okay, so it's always the inverse of what's happening to the subject that you'll need to do to the other side. Okay, so in the first examples, there was just one thing happening, where you might have 2 things happening. So if it's 2 things happening, then I've got to kind of consider, again, working backwards. So if you look at this example we've got on over here, you've got c is equal to 4d plus 7, and it's d that I want on its own. All right, so there's 2 things happening. D is currently times by 4 and then add 7. All right, and it's important that you recognize that the order I said that in, it's times by 4 and then add the 7. All right, well, I'm going to do the opposite of that. So if I'm going to do some sort of times by 4 and add 7, then I need to work backwards. All right, so if I times by 4 and add 7, working backwards, I need to take away the 7 and then divide by 4. And that's important, that order, because if you don't do it the other way around, you're going to get it wrong. Okay, so I can't divide by 4 and then take away 7. It's not going to work. I've got to take away 7 first and then divide by 4. All right, so let's start with the first step. The 7 on its own, so we move this first to take away the 7. So the plus 7 comes to the side and becomes a minus, again, the inverse, all right, equals 4d. Then we need to divide this by 4, which is the next step over here. And remember, it is dividing everything over here by 4. So that means I need a big line underneath it and put it all over 4, all right? It's not just one part or the other part, all of it, okay? And that's going to leave me with d on its own. All right, so just be very, very careful in terms of which way around you need to do it and which order you need to do it. Like I said, there are 2 more videos looking at this one, but that's the kind of introduction to it. All right, but please do look at our other videos as well. Thanks for listening.